Muy buenas noches a todos. Para hacer honor al consorcio, voy a dirigir las primeras palabras en español. Vamos a escuchar los 3 idiomas oficiales del consorcio aquí esta noche. Bienvenidos al Congreso RISC 2010, nuestro tercer congreso anual. Especial bienvenida a todos nuestros visitantes internacionales. Este año el Congreso va a desarrollar la temática de desarrollo, fragilidad, pobreza y crisis globales, reforzando la gobernanza. Pero además de que esta es la apertura oficial del Congreso, es un gran honor hacer también la presentación oficial de nuestra revista Regiones y Cohesión. Ustedes han tenido oportunidad de ver alguna información parada por allí y algunos folletos del anticipo del número oficial que con gusto vamos a presentar esta noche. Esta revista promueve una visión comparativa de los impactos humanos y ambientales de la cohesión social y la integración regional. Vamos a poder tener oportunidad de hablar un poco más de esto en la presentación siguiente, y por ahora es un placer para mí dar la palabra a mi colega y amigo Arlanco.
Okay, thank you very much, Carmen Maganda. I would like to thank everybody here in the room this evening. In fact, we have a consortium which focuses on regional integration and social cohesion. Regional integration for us is an object of study, and it's also an objective, because we're trying to give meaning to knowledge through cross-regional dialogue. And that's why when we talk about regional integration, it's the focus of what we do, but it's also the character of who we are. And we're very pleased to now launch this new journal, which is another forum with which we can create these debates, and also hopefully, as I said earlier, create dialogue which gives new meaning to academic traditions in Africa, the Americas, in Europe, and now we're actually very pleased this year to announce that we have participants coming from Asia to our conferences. The consortium was born in 2007, and we had our first conference in 2008. Last year we had the conference in 2009 in Medellin, Colombia, where we really actually had a wonderful situation of dialogue and also friendship with our Colombian colleagues who are here tonight, and I'd like to thank them for their efforts last year. So, without further ado, we're very honored to present this journal this evening. The journal, its mission is to promote, as I said earlier, the comparative cross-regional study of the human and environmental impacts of regional integration. We're very honored this evening to have a wonderful keynote speaker. I would like to thank President Cissé of the Union Économique et Monétaire West Africaine for his presence here this evening. I would like to thank his delegation here, Ambassador Senou, and of course my colleague, the Director of Research for OEMWA, Mr. Nabucco, who actually had the pleasant surprise of knowing earlier. I didn't realize that I was in touch with a colleague I had met in Mali in 2007. Upon his arrival, that was really a wonderful surprise for us. So without further ado, I would like to thank our speakers this evening for coming, and I would like to introduce them: the President of the University of Luxembourg, Dr. Rapp, the Director of the Development Cooperation Director here in Luxembourg, Mr. Marc Bichler, and of course President Cissé. Thank you very much for coming, President Rapp.
Señoras y señores, esta es para mí una de las pocas oportunidades que tengo de hablar el español oficialmente en este país. Pero para no complicar las traducciones, continuaré en inglés. Pero sepan que me hubiese gustado decir todas mis palabras en español. So, dear cher président, mesdames et messieurs, je vais continuer en anglais pour simplifier les choses et aussi pour ne pas fatiguer trop ma tête avec les changements permanents de langue. Now, the subject of your conference, I think this started maybe 3 years ago, is that right? The RISC series of conferences, the subject, development, poverty, and global crisis, reinforcing governance. When I looked at it this morning, I thought, these are basically the most difficult things which exist. Development, poverty, crisis, and then governance. So I have a great admiration for you that you're going to discuss about these difficult issues. Now the problem, of course, is that we are not advancing very much. Let me just take poverty, because I certainly don't have time to talk about all these things. We are not advancing very much with respect to poverty. But one can look at the data. Of course, it depends very much on how you define poverty. If you say that being poor means to have a salary which is 50% of the median salary or 30% of the median salary, then there will always be part of the population, by definition, which will be poor. More objectively, that even in the rich countries, or precisely in the rich countries, the difference between the income of the 5% richest sector of the country and the 5% poorest sector of the country is basically in all countries increasing. So, in spite of whatever we are, so many people discussing about it, so many institutions worried about it, so many organizations, international organizations discussing it. I was recently in Japan, in Kyoto, in a forum which is called Science and Technology for Society. And there were 1,000 people, there were lots of Nobel Prizes, lots of prime ministers, very important people. And it was very nice, the discussions, and there were conclusions. But I'm not sure what we did for diminishing poverty. And that is precisely, the difficulty of this. Here at our university, there are lots of things which have to do with fighting poverty, on which we are working, we are going to organize a little congress on basic income. We had recently lots of discussions on promoting social business here. We have groups who are in microfinance, and so on and so on and so forth. And yet, are we doing the right things? I don't know. Let me wind up by just mentioning one thing which comes from schools. It is known nowadays that perfectly performing schools increase the difference between the best students and the worst students. That's to say, a school which perfectly performing means a school which to each student gives most of the opportunities to develop him or herself. And it is well known that they increase the difference. And that just, I tell you this because that tells us that maybe something else has to be done. Voilà, alors moi j'aimerais vous donner la bienvenue ici au Luxembourg. Merci d'être ici. Et je vous souhaite une conférence avec beaucoup de succès. Bien sûr aussi que vous établiez de liens les uns avec les autres et que vous appreniez beaucoup ensemble. Et dans le but, bien sûr, de faire avancer la lutte contre la pauvreté et les sujets de la gouvernance qui finalement, je crois, est probablement l'aspect le plus délicat et le plus important pour combattre, pour avancer dans ce domaine. Merci beaucoup.